Hi, everybody. This is Dan Stolbarger. Welcome to this week's Middle East update. It's Friday, July 5th. We're going to look back over this last week. Sometimes you just hear breaking news, breaking news, breaking news all the time. And sometimes you can kind of get numb to it. But this is, as I was waiting to do this report, this just came across my desk. And it will really impact most of what we have to offer to you this week. But we're going to wait and see what transpires here. So what's the news? Reuters is reporting that Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire proposal, but the war will still continue. Go figure that one out. But allegedly, Hezbollah has told Hamas that if there is a ceasefire in Gaza, there will be a ceasefire in the north as well. So, like I said, last minute, right before I kind of hit the switch to do this recording, we're going to have to wait and see on all of this. But just as a reminder, make sure you grab the PDF PowerPoint. It's available on our YouTube page. You can get that. But, when I was thinking about as I start this report, I usually begin with that as I see it. And the questions of the day is what's next? And is there a deal or no deal? Seems like there might be a deal. And then the question is, has Israel done enough to, in a sense, convince their people that their objectives have been met? Tremendous pressure globally and in Israel itself to bring the hostages home now. Very, very understandable. But question, is it enough? Well, let's take a look at this week. Our news bites. Think about the danger that Israel's in with the existential danger of different fronts with Iran, Yemen, Syria, Iraq. Virtually the majority of the countries in the Middle East is trying to settle the score, or I guess if it comes to that point, we're reading that there may be a nuclear option, whether it's the Samson complex or whatever, but Israel is alerting the world that if all fronts come against them, they will use nuclear weapons. Who would believe that we're living in such a time as this? Again, this week, an Israeli plane was forced to land in Turkey because of a medical emergency, and the Turks refused to allow them off the plane or to refuel. Israel had to fly to Greece in order to refuel and get back to Israel. Turkey. And again, all of these things, we've got the inner circle and we got the outer circle. And that outer circle we know is the big war, which is Ezekiel 38 and 39. And I think the Turks are a part of that coalition. In regards to Lebanon, what's going on there? A diplomatic source from Israel has stated, we've circled a date on a calendar. Everything I'm reading is that there will be war unless this breaking news comes to pass and it's legitimate. But it seems as if Israel is readying themselves for all-out war with Hezbollah later in the month of July. But we'll wait and see on that one. Netanyahu is going to speak with Biden. Once he's, again, Netanyahu speaking at joint session of Congress, and with Biden's situation, it's all politics at this point in time. But this cold shoulder, this argument between Biden and Bibi probably will be put to rest. The question about Sinwar in the midst of all of this, the October 7th mastermind. His location is said to only be known by 2 or 3 people, period. It's interesting, at least to me, that the Mossad has not yet been able to take him out. It is an objective, to make no bones about it. One of the objectives of the war for Israel is to kill Sinwar, and that has yet to happen. Our friend Amir, I read on his Telegram page, basically there's no other way to put it. We're winning the war in Gaza, but at this point in time, we're losing up in the north. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's transpiring in the north. Again, our major articles is the Gaza war ending. And as we've mentioned, we're going to have to wait and see. Is there a ceasefire going to be in place? I just don't know. I hope, I pray that Israel's met their objectives, that there's peace in Israel, praying for the peace of Jerusalem. But this is how terrorism works. This is how Hamas works. Get people's hopes up and then pull the rug out from under them. That's why we'll have to wait and see on all of this. What we do know is Israel took out a main cog in Hezbollah, and in retaliation, Hezbollah rockets fell all over the north. Over 200 rockets were launched. Over 20 different explosive-laden drones were sent, and again, fires in the Golan, Upper Galilee, Akko. We heard that there was a shopping mall in Akko that was hit, some slight structural damage there. But again, make no mistake about it, if there is not a ceasefire in place, Israel cannot continue to allow all of these rockets raining down on the north. And again, it inches further and further towards Tiberias and the Sea of Galilee. The hostage deal update, once again, we're going to wait and see as far as timetables, how many prisoner exchanges and all of that. Again, the article here, take a look at it. It's the latest hostage deal update. Before we heard this news coming to you live today, we read that Netanyahu had green-lighted the Israeli delegation to go to Qatar. And again, we'll wait and see now what comes out of that and what the facts of the documents will be. And then, as we've mentioned, there's an article here saying the next war, will nukes be used? And a couple people from Israel, Benny Morris, an Israeli historian, and Yair Katz, who, let me get his title here, is the head of the Workers' Union at Israel Aerospace Industry. They went public about the possibility and maybe the inevitability to nuke Iran. Should Israel face that existential threat during the upcoming war against Hezbollah, if there's a multi-front war against Israel, and once again, who would believe that we're living in these times? Israel's going on record to say we will use a nuclear option. There's an article here of, again, the myth of the famine in Gaza. For months, Israel has refuted the claims, the libelous claims, that is, of a famine in Gaza. And now, whether it's the World Food Program or different NGOs that are coming out and basically saying there's no famine in Gaza. So again, the media, and again, this is our pursuit of truth. Where can you find truth? We hope we're one of those areas that you can find truth. As I mentioned, my friend Amir Safate, Telegram, There's, again, if you're interested in knowing some of the source material we have, just send me an email, and I'll give you what information that we have of trustworthy news sites that we use. Let's see, what else? Yeah, Hamas is rioting on the 4th of July, burning American flags. Where? Not in Ramallah, no, not in Jenin, not in Gaza. They're in Philadelphia, in New York City, rioting on the 4th of July. And that's where we're at. I've given you some slides also to take a look at. And then just as a reminder, we are going to Israel November 7th through the 17th. This trip still has openings if you're interested in joining with us. We're calling this tour The Land, the People, and the King. You take a look at that slide number 13 for information. And again, if you need more information on this, my wife's email is there as well. I'm going to leave with this because I just got this sent to me today. Our ground operator that we use in Israel is Sarel, friends of ours, and I just read positive developments in Israel. We are cautiously optimistic as we see the conflict in Gaza moving towards its conclusion. Israel is expected to announce the end of major combat operations soon, and there'll be a transition to targeted operations against hostile elements. We anticipate a decrease in tensions, allowing for freer movement in the surrounding areas. It goes on to say that if you're interested in visiting the Gaza corridor, that is safe at this particular time. He goes on to say, we understand that there's legitimate concerns about the situation, but, and this is from on the ground in Israel, but we would like to assure you that daily life is as normal as always, and that most of the tour sites are fully open and allow for a unique and rather intimate experience. This process and this progress of where we are right now brings us closer to the day when all of Israel will once again be fully open. Again, you can read the rest of this letter, but I do believe that there will be an open door, that this tour in November will go. And so if God's put it upon your heart, if you want to experience the land, it's amazing. If you want to experience and get to know the heart of the people, that to me is just as important as experiencing the land. And finally, the opportunity to meet the King, to walk with the King in Israel. That's what we're offering. So pray about joining us. And so with that, that's this week's report. If there's a further update on this ceasefire, we'll get you some information as soon as possible. So with that, God bless you, shalom, and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.